Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nick and Sergio's Fun Watch List. I am Nick.
I'm Sergio.
We are back for another recap of La Más Draga, La Sexto Sentido. Are you having a very fun time with this season?
I am. Actually, I do have to say this episode was really good overall. Another solid episode for the season.
Look, when you claimed that this was one of the best seasons ever, maybe the best season ever, I was a little like, pump the brakes. But now, as I'm seeing more episodes, I'm like, Sergio might be right. This is one of the best seasons ever.
I think maybe the production quality of it is so good. And also the runways, like each of the queens, they're so polished to a different level than other seasons.
I agree. The fact that some of these things are in the bottom, they might have won in previous seasons.
Totally.
It's very impressive.
Totally.
So let's get right into the beat by beat of this episode. Johnny Carmona comes in, and I really love this poncho that she's wearing. It's cute.
I think one of the cutest things Johnny Carmona has worn the entire season. I really love it.
It's gorgeous. I would totally wear this. And before he introduces the main theme of the runway, as he always does, he introduces a special guest speaker that they've invited, a trans activist and a community organizer. And her name is Kenya Cuevas. And she speaks a little bit about some of the challenges facing the community of trans women in Latin America these days. Specifically in Mexico, I did not realize it has the second highest murder rate for trans women in the world. Very upsetting. So it was great that she was able to share a little bit about what her organization does. The organization is Casa Teresias. And they have shelters and they run community organization all over Mexico. And I think that's amazing.
It's such a great platform, La Más Draga, to have Kenya come over and kind of teach us, these facts and ways in which we can help. And, I think that in this season, especially having the first trans woman, I think that visibility has been really incredible this season. So I am really happy.
Arias is very moved by the cause of Casa Teresias, and they actually volunteered to donate their winnings from both of their challenge wins to Casa Teresias.
Yeah, and then after that, people kind of stepped forward too, and the other two was Juana Guadalupe and Kelly. So it's really nice to see them, just being supportive and kind of showing what you need to be doing, So it was really nice overall.
It's really great, and I think especially to talk about trans women in a show about drag, where trans women have created and invented so much of what we know and love in this art form. It's great to actually have a moment to talk about the issues facing them. And after the informative speech, we do get our main runway assignment for the week, and it's a spooky challenge. It's La Más Nahual. You actually need to go from one representation of your drag persona into a representation of your guide animal.
I know, so it's a reveal.
Yeah, it's a reveal.
It's a reveal runway, which is very exciting. This is at the point where you kind of can see who is really inventive and who is struggles a little. Who just puts, a fabric on top
over their head.
Takes that off and it's like, that's a reveal.
Oh, we'll talk about it. And reveals are such a big part of drag runways these days. I like when they work a reason for the reveal into the story of the runway. So I thought this was a cool challenge.
This is a great challenge to be doing that. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. And speaking of fun challenges, Alexis 3XL enters, and she's wearing a big, voluptuous, spooky witch look. I love this look.
So cute.
God, her looks have just been dynamite all season, and I think this is maybe one of my favorites. And she introduces a pretty funny way they're going to be assigning spots in the mini challenge. She pulls a tarp off of a little platform, and in there is Venenito's head. And I mean his body,
It's a little bit foreshadowing of what the mini challenge would be, which is... take it away.
Gross. It's going to be gross. We're going to talk about gross stuff. And Venenito's being very funny, doing amazing acting with just his head. He's trying to chomp on some of their fingers, and he's flirting with some of them.
I mean, it was very spooky, and especially what happens next. So I have a lot of reservations about this.
Well, don't you think it's cool that they timed the episode for spooky season? Look, it's coming out right in the middle of October.
Well, sure. I mean, they know that. They're planning ahead, but this is, I don't know, it was a little too much for me to see the real organs and eyeballs.
Let's get into what the mini challenge is. We go to the scary box game. I forget what it was called. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a scary box game. There are 10 boxes, one for each of our contestants, and they have to put on a blindfold, and they have to reach into the box and find a key, but they don't know what's going to be in there. And even though everyone is watching and being horrified, they're not allowed to tell people what is in the boxes. And on top of that, they have to sing while they're doing it. So,
This was torture.
this was pretty gross.
This was Dragula season 1. I like that episode where they actually have to eat the thing for extermination. Gross.
I like Dragula a lot. I do not care for the challenges where they have to do gross stuff.
Yeah,
I thought was in between. They didn't have to eat anything. They just had to stick their finger in it. What's the big deal? It's just bugs and meat.
You would not do it.
Yes, I would. I would stick my fingers in it.
Like with the big cockroaches.
Those big cockroaches were really gross.
Oh god, those were horrible. Also, like, the game is there's 10 boxes, there's 10 keys. One of those keys opens one box, not all boxes. So
yeah, and most people are unsuccessful getting the keys out. Only 2 people get their keys.
Exactly. So there's a 10% chance that somebody's gonna win this challenge. But then was that planned the entire time?
Of course,
like,
it was planned.
How is this working?
Of course, it was planned. Look, I don't think it's cheating on production's part for them to be like, 2 people won. Let's take their 2 locks, mix them up, and put one of them on there. Even though I think they probably purposefully picked La Kylie's.
I mean, do you think it was rigged? I think it was rigged.
I think it was rigged. Of course I think it was rigged.
I think it was rigged because they knew, it's like, girl, you're in the bottom every episode.
Yeah.
But we want you to stay, so we're gonna, like, give you a little key in order for you to be successful. But, you know, like, if Kylie had not gotten the key, then, you know, it wouldn't have worked. So it was also a lot of her by sticking her hand in nasty things.
She did stick her hand in nasty things. And this is a pretty big deal for her because she can use this immunity all the way up until the semifinals. So as long as she doesn't land in the bottom more than once, she can make it to the semifinals.
She could literally make it to the semifinals. Like, you're so right. Especially if she's saved to the next episode. I don't know how many weeks there are. They already announced the finale.
So it's got to be like a month away.
So it's going to be a month away, yeah. Already? Oh my god.
Wow.
This season's flying by.
Even though it was a little too gross for me, I think it was worth it for all the screams. From singing to screaming.
We got Arias.
Arias?
And she just she did it, and then she got upset and walked off stage.
She knew she wasn't going to like it. She kind of knew what was going to go on based on seeing the bugs and the previous
boxes.
So
and then she comes out as vegetarian.
She comes out as vegetarian, which is very brave. She's the first out vegetarian on La Mas Draga. Represent Arias.
That's not true. It's funny because I feel like being a vegetarian was also a lot of the topics that were part of the workroom.
I know. Well, going to the workroom, Arias gives a very heartfelt speech about how she wants to stand up for animals because they can't stand up for themselves. And I actually think that's very sweet. And she's very respectful. She says, I respect you if you choose to eat meat. But she just didn't want to take part in this challenge, and I think that's fair.
I mean, I think I definitely agree with Arias. I think, you know, I used to be vegan for 7 years, and then I was vegetarian.
And you would give this speech about once a week.
And I would give this exact same speech. No, I was...
Every time we went to a restaurant with our friends, you would stop everyone talking, you would get up on the table.
That is not what I do. People are going to believe you. Oh my god. Honestly, I have to say I was not vegan for animal rights, which they were just part of it.
Sure.
It was more like of how they kill animals. I think that's more into the way that it is. You know, there's more humanistic ways of...
I think factory farming is bad.
Factory farming is just bad. And, you know, in the end, I feel like it's not about eating them. It's more about how we're raising them. Yeah. And, you know, fuck factory farming.
I do appreciate that Arias feels very passionate about this, but I could not help but crack up when all of a sudden people are coming and comforting her, and Kelly approaches and she's wearing a pig mask.
Everyone's wearing like animal. That was a funny thing. Like everyone was wearing like animal. Like Catriona was a cat.
Someone was a bird.
Kelly, yes, people were being bird. Like they were all being animals, and it's like, oh, we have no. Like it was just very funny.
It was a funny visual.
It was a very funny visual.
And then going into the next little bit of drama for the workroom, La Kylie's speaking about how she thought it was pretty shady of Alexis Mugler last week to put Purga in the bottom because
she was not meant to be in the bottom. Yeah. Okay. Listen.
And Alexis, of course, says, well, whatever, you're both ugly. So
that was very funny.
Which was cute.
It was very funny. But also, like, girl, both of you were in the bottom last episode. One of you was meant to go home. So let's just put both of them in the bottom again and see who's going to be, you know, it's like, it doesn't matter how good or bad you did. One of you was already meant to go.
I kind of get it.
As much as I love both of them, you know, I love Purga and I love Kylie's. But I'm like, these girls are just, I know they're trying to make drama off of it, but I'm like, this is boring drama for me. For me.
And Arias just continuing to make the entire episode about herself, for better or for worse.
I think she learned last episode is like, if you make the episode about you, you will win.
You will win. And she gives another speech. This one is talking about how conservatives are often blaming drag performers for harming children or being the cause of society's problems. But those same people don't call out the same problems in the Catholic Church, for example. So it was interesting seeing that that problem is not just happening here. It's happening, you know, just south of us in Mexico. And this is a calculated thing on the part of conservative movements everywhere, just to vilify anyone who seems different.
Yeah, really good for Arias to like speak out on it. So I'm really glad that, you know, there were a lot of topics that happened this episode, but, you know, can we just go into the runway? Because that is my favorite part of that.
We will go into the runway. This is a very, very strong runway. First of all, as always, Marisol comes out. And I do want to take a moment and pause and talk about this. I want to be really careful because we're speaking as, you know, people who live in the United States. We're coming from a very specific perspective when it comes to cultural appropriation. But when she came out in the outfit, I thought it was a little rough. And then she did the bow and I was like, ugh. But, you know, like, that's not necessarily for me to say that she's doing something wrong. Mexico has never oppressed Japan. So I think it's a different conversation about cultural appropriation.
Also, I feel like should not be coming from us to call it out. So, you know. I feel like she looks pretty. She
looks pretty, and, you know, that's just an interesting thing to us. We don't really want to pass judgment or anything, but that was how we kind of interpreted it. Going over to our other judges, we are introduced to Raquel Martinez, and wow, she looks gorgeous this week.
Stunning this episode. She looks like a super, like, hero.
A superhero? Yeah, like a Barbie superhero. Yeah. If Princess Peach, you know, was going out there fighting crime. It's kind of that energy.
I just love the hair, you know? It's like, I don't know. It's giving me superhero.
Yeah, I love it. It's very like Barbarella, maybe.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
We go over to Yari Mejia. She's actually kind of dressed with the theme because she's got some animal furs on her.
Yeah, she has a lot of things happening on props.
Yeah, what was the thing behind her? We thought it was maybe
hand.
a big snake. Oh, it was a hand.
It was a hand. It was a big hand. Which does not match the outfit.
Why was it a big hand?
I don't know.
And we go over to Letal, who's, I don't think on theme. Is this an animal or is this like a demon from hell?
I think she's a demon.
She looks like a Hellraiser demon.
She looks like Hellraiser.
Yeah, this is very gross, very spooky. So I guess on theme that way.
On theme.
And then we go over and meet our guest judge of the week. This week we have a very talented singer from the musical group Cabá, which I know of because of Apio on Casa de las Famosas, which we were watching this summer. And her name is...
Speaking of trans women.
And her name is Daniela Magun. And she's looking gorgeous. I love this sort of Kill Bill print that she's rocking.
Oh, she looks so pretty. It was very Kill Bill. Like, it's like a reinterpretation of
very
the
Bruce Lee
suit into a dress. So I was really, really pleased with her look.
And we go right into the runway. As mentioned before, it's La Mas Nahual. And first out to the stage, we have Dimitra. And she comes out and she has a mask sort of hovering in front of her. Very flowy cape.
Very flowy, capey.
And then it's pulled away, and it is revealed to be this very scary bat woman, this like bat creature. I really liked it.
This looks really good. I have to say, this looks amazing. Like I don't get why the judges don't like her.
I don't know why this was not in the top. This was awesome.
The way they critique her now, like every time, it's just like it seems like they don't like her. I'm like, maybe we're perceiving this differently through, you know, TV versus being there in real person. So, you know, things read differently But I'm like, why are they always giving her negative critiques? Because I thought she was, you know, in the top for this episode.
This looked like Broadway quality prosthetics. This looked like it could be in a movie or a TV show. This was so impressive. And I loved the way...
The wings were incredible.
The wings were cool. The fabric on the dress, which could have looked very flat and boring, had a lot of texture and dimension. I loved her chopping off Venanito's head, who just... This poor boy cannot keep his head on.
He just keeps dying.
he dies every fucking week on this runway. These poor Venenos. But yeah, I thought this was really strong, and I wish she got praised for it a little more.
Same.
And next to the stage, we have La Kailis, and she enters looking just gorgeous with this big headdress that...
Just...
Larger than life, great colors, and when she leans down, the headdress sort of pivots with her, which I thought was very inventive and impressive. And when she pulls off her shawl, she sort of reveals this animal print underneath, very much like an alebrije that you might get. It's very cool looking.
Honestly, one of the best for me, like in terms of transformation. It was
Yes, the
insane how it
transformation.
like transformed. But I do have to say that, you know, her walking, I feel like still is not there.
I think that might have kept her from the win.
Yeah, I
Because
think
her
that might have
movements
kept
are
it.
always just a little awkward.
She was getting compliments, but then she went ahead and blamed the designer, and I was like, "Why? What?
No.
Like this makes no sense."
No, we can blame the designer sometimes. This is not a blame the designer.
But it's like I'm tired of them doing it, and I'm so glad that Yeri Mejia finally today was like, "Yes, we can do it, but you know, let's stop." Like,
Yeah.
just saying every time using that as the only excuse. It's like you are also the person who's gonna put this together. You can change it. You can like twist. You know, do last minute changes yourself. So finally, we get some like really good message.
Juana Guadalupe is next to the stage, and another very strong entry. She's sort of giving, I don't know, a witchy scarecrow? Is that the vibe
like
you're
a
getting?
scarecrow witch.
Because she's got like the sickles from the field, right?
Yeah, and I feel like I'm not a fan of the second look, but I do love the contrast between the first and the second look, from
They
a
were
very,
very
matte
different.
look to a very glossy finish.
Yeah, let's talk about the second look, because the reveal was a little choppy, but that's okay. I can forgive that. I was more confused with what it was,
She
because
was a scorpion.
I understand
Some
that, but it
sort
was
of
reading as a
scorpion,
bee
right?
to me. It was
A
reading as a
bee?
bee, but they had the tail, but the tail was like attached to her titty.
Boy, so it didn't fall, you know?
Well, I thought it should come off
Because sometimes
eventually.
when they come off, like you're like, oh god, like, you know, there's such a distraction. So I thought it was very smart for her to do that.
Well, then answer me this. How come when she sits down on Veneno, she sort of opens her flaps like they're wings? That's why I was confused. Is she a hornet? Did she say scorpion? No one said scorpion, right?
They said it.
Okay.
Like, one of the judges said it.
I was just a little confused by it. I did think she looked really cool, though, so that's fine.
Well,
I can be
safe.
confused. You're declaring it?
Safe.
Yep. Okay. Chantel is next to the stage, and I've been really warming up to Chantel the last couple weeks, and this look just kind of confused me again. I was very confused by this.
I feel like at first, when I first watched it, I really liked the teddy bear idea.
It was so stupid and weird.
It was so stupid and weird. And then I saw the reveal was messy. And then like I watched it a second time, and I was like, okay, no, this is cringy now.
Yeah, it's
like
a
it was
little...
hard to watch.
It's sort of like a very scary nightmare a child might have, so I guess I appreciate that.
I love like it was more like a skinning, like, you know, of you were
Yeah.
skinning the fur of the animal. So I really like, you know, it has good bones.
Yeah, but
The
there was
execution not really there.
a lot of reveal issues, and she was called out for it. She had trouble getting the bottom part of the fur off. She stumbled because of the heels a couple times. And, you know, that's a factor in the runway, and I think it hurt her this week.
Yeah.
Alexis Mugler comes out next, and she is giving Beetlejuice being burned at the stake, being whipped by the Venenos, but then she gets her powers, and she becomes a goat monster from hell.
I just have to say I love her. That's all I have to say, because this is not the best look. You know, it is, I feel like, one of the worst.
It could have been
Looks-
really good, though. It was really close. There was things I liked about it, but there's just little details, like I think
Even the wig, should, like, you know, when
the
she
green
did
wig
the
should have
reveal.
disappeared when she
And it's
turned
not
into the
it's
goat.
not really a reveal, because she put something on, so she wasn't
Yeah.
revealing. You know, like the mask, putting the mask on is not revealing.
Yeah, it's kind of cheating. And then on top of that, the mask itself like had all the hair to one side. It seemed like a mistake. I love Alexis, but I'm a little over this checkerboard hot topic
Yes,
print.
I hate the checkerboard. It's the only thing that I could like look at and be like, I've seen this.
If
I
she
hate
had
this.
ditched the checkerboard, I think this look would have been 10 or 20% better.
Yes, I agree. So,
But compliments, still love
She
her
was in the
personality,
bottom.
love her face, love hearing her talk. Kelly comes out next,
Oof.
and look, I'm the biggest fan of Kelly, maybe in the world. Everyone knows this, watching at home. I don't understand what happened here. I really don't get it.
this is not good at all.
This is the worst thing I've ever seen her in. And I know something went wrong here, because there's no pre-look. She's just got a tarp over her. And when she throws it off, the look underneath is kind of confusing. Is she like a pig monkey? Because she's running around like a monkey,
But
and she's got a
her-
monkey tail.
But she has a pig nose.
Pig nose. Huh.
I don't know. I want to understand it, but I also don't, because I don't want to look at it anymore.
Yeah, I also don't want to look at it. Now, she won some points during the critiques for making jokes about her titties, and silicone and all that.
Yes.
And I really think that helped her out because everyone was just having a blast laughing about the titties.
I mean, she was still in the bottom.
I didn't get how the titties were part of the guide animal, though, because, like, the monkey was getting the titties electrocuted? What was that?
I have no idea.
I was so confused. Yeah. Ariel is next to the stage, and wow, Ariel.
Stepping it up.
She is really stepping it up. Her runways have been getting better throughout the season, and I think this is the best that she's done. She's been having a bit of trouble telling a story, and this told maybe the best story of the week. I thought this would be lit.
I thought you were going to say walking.
She's another one who's had some walking
I feel like
problems.
she was so close to winning, but, you know, she struggled walking on the stage.
Yeah.
You know, when she was in her first reveal, like, you know, in her first
Coming out
outfit
with a mask.
before the reveal, like, she was hopping to the
Oh,
front
I
of the
thought she was
stage.
trying to move weird because she was like a ghost spirit.
No, I
or
think
something.
because she was wearing the black dress under, and then she had another layer, so she could barely move. And then when
Okay.
they took it off, she could barely walk. And I was like, "You look stunning, but you cannot walk."
She could barely
and I feel
walk.
like that snubbed her from getting the win because I think she could have won the episode.
Yeah, very close, very close. This was awesome. This was best I've seen from Ariel.
Yes, can't wait to see what else she does.
Yeah. Catriona is out next, and we've been talking about how Catriona is flying a little under the radar, and I think she kind of changed the narrative this week. This was one of the most impressive. I'm kind of shocked she did not win.
I'm not shocked she did not win. Again, being how creative you are with the reveal.
The reveal was so perfect.
The reveal was great, but the first
The fake out, because I was like, whose beefy arms are these?
I know. The reveal was great, but the first outfit itself
Sure.
was just, you know, a fabric, and she just added some lining around, and that was it. Like,
Okay.
I don't think... It didn't even have a face. It just had arms. But when she did the reveal...
Yes.
Oh, my God. She was spectacular.
I've never seen Cats the Musical, but if it's anything like this, I would like to see it, and I think I would like it.
Her movements on stage, I'm really glad. I think this is the first time. I don't think we've seen her dance skills
I didn't know she
before,
could do ballet.
and oh my God, she is amazing. She needs to do this every runway.
Yes, she needs to inject all of this movement talent into every performance she does, because this is what sets her apart. And this is why she was so impressive in
And
the
I
lip
mean,
sync.
and this is why
in
she
the,
was
in the audition.
In the audition, and this is why she was in the top, like, I mean,
Yes.
for this. But I feel like she was so close to winning if she had had a better first outfit.
I think you're right. And speaking of interesting reveals, we go over to my girl. I'm over on her mountain, Electra Walpurgis. And she gets a little criticized for the animal look. But I just want to say, I don't think she got enough credit for how cool and inventive this first look was. Like, this was Jim Henson.
Yes.
It was magical.
It felt like a puppet. Like
I thought it was a puppet.
like,
I
the way
didn't
it was
realize that
moving.
her head, if I had not seen her makeup in the workroom, I would have not known that head was her face.
That was her face. That, I have to say, they did not give her props for that. She was actually amazing. And her, actually, two outfits...
Even when she came out, it was cool.
Were good. When she started moving, that's kind of when.
Yeah. But I mean, you've got a glow-in-the-dark wolf head,
Yes.
and it's not just like a simple thing that you would wear to FurCon, you know. This is like got a lot of art in it. There's design underneath. There's the plastic pieces on top that make the tail. I thought this was really inventive, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't like it.
Yeah. But I feel like she's going to be in the finale.
Yeah, so they gotta find some reason to put her in the bottom.
Yeah, you know, when they have to give you bad comments, even though you've been doing good, just because
It's time.
it's time, you know.
And finally, to the runway, we have the star of the episode, the girl with main character syndrome who earns it. Arias comes to the stage, and wow, this is so cool.
It's an incredible 2 outfits that
She
look
did
good
the
on
best
their
kind of
own.
like old lady with a shawl over
And then her
her
movement as a bird before that she transformed, that was amazing. It was so well done. And then when she's a bird, she's also just kind of like Catriona, like flying through the stage. It was amazing.
Yes, and if I was Ariel, because these looks are pretty similar, I would be so mad that what is clearly my best look is being done simply a little bit better by another girl in the room. Because this was just kind of a better version. Yes, Ariel's was more fashion and editorial, but this was like movie quality
This was a
costume. This was
performance.
performance. This was inventive. I loved the weird bird titties. Like, how can you
Drippy.
beat bird titties?
Yes.
Ariel didn't have any bird titties. No wonder she didn't win.
I mean, I think they're both lucky that they picked the two birds to be in the top. Usually they pick one to be the top and one to be the bottom, you know?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
usually how it's done whenever there's two of the same.
Yeah. Also, special shout out to Lysa Sansusi for bringing her smoke bombs.
bombs
and providing them for Arias. And for, I think Elektra also had some smoke bombs. So it was nice to see Lysa back. So this was a very exciting runway. And we go right into our Mas and Menos. For Raquel Martinez, the Mas is going to be Ariel. And I think we agree this was a big step up for her. I didn't know she had the center. And she has the highest Veneno body count. She killed all 3 of the Venenos, which I don't think anyone else accomplished.
You're right.
So props to that as well. And for Raquel's Menos, unfortunately, we have Chantel. There was just too many execution problems.
I mean, she was almost falling, so...
Yeah. The piece of the skirt fell off.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It makes sense! Yari announces her Mas, and it is Arias, the other bird. We got 2 bird ladies. What's gonna happen?
They're gonna fight it off like
birds.
Ooh,
wouldn't they? That'd be cool if they fought in the sky.
like the beaks.
They have the rigging to pull them up. Why don't they pull both of them up in the air?
Yes.
And they could have a lip sync in the sky. That would be cool. They could lip sync to I'm Like a Bird.
I'm like, okay.
Crystal
Crystal Method.
And unfortunately, Yari's Menos is Kelly. And I'm the biggest
Valid,
Kelly fan, but it's deserved.
Deserved.
This is my least favorite
Yes.
Kelly look. We go over to Leital, and even though the graphic says that her Mas is Arias, her Mas is actually Catriona. And I agree, this makeup is very strong. Great prosthetics.
Yeah, the prosthetics was amazing. The movement was incredible. So I can see how she's in the top. Like, come on.
And unfortunately, the bottom is our dear best friend in the world, Alexis Mugler. And yeah, I get it.
I know.
She really needed to step it up the way some of these other girls have.
It's been
and she didn't do it.
repetitive at this point in the competition. I think she's made it far for what she's brought to the stage. But, you know, I respect her. I love her.
I love her so much.
I'm still going to follow her after the show. So.
I wish she would have gotten on the mic. Maybe that would have saved her. Because every time she gets on the mic on the runway, they like it. So the winner is announced. And as we've alluded to multiple times, it is Arias. This is her 3rd win. Is she running away with the competition? Can anyone beat her?
I mean, Juana Guadalupe is just 1 win behind.
It's true. She could very easily catch up. And also we could end up in a situation where Seafair had the most wins going into the season 4 finale. And we all know how that ended up. Rebel Mork won just because she had such a strong finale. So who knows?
And then... this is something that we were guessing, we knew it was coming. I think that when we looked at each other and we're like, oh my God, there's going to be a bottom 3.
Yes.
And it happened. There was a bottom 3 for the first time this season.
Yes. And the bottom 3 is going to be Chantel, Alexis Mugler, and Kelly. And they lip sync to a song by Mariana Seoane, Mermelada. And I really like the song. It's got a great energy to it. And what I notice as the lip sync begins is Kelly and Chantel are kind of giving the same.
They're giving the same. They were giving the same energy and similar movements. Yeah. And I feel like
Alexis was kind of
pulling focus because she was doing something completely different. Like, I was very taken by what happened in the end, but like, because during the lip sync, we were mostly looking at Alexis and doing all her gags, you know.
She's got reveals, she's pulling stuff out of her dick, she's mugging for the camera. I really liked it. Nothing against what Chantel and Kelly were doing.
And then I would say Chantel, it was Alexis, Chantel, and actually I thought Kelly was going home.
So what I figured was going to happen, and I kind of agree with you, is because Alexis was doing something so different, she would certainly be safe, and then it would be between one of the other 2 to go home. And I thought it might have been Kelly. I kind of agree with you. But what happens instead, and we get kind of a mean fake out.
That is such a mean fake out.
We get a very mean fake out from the guest judge who says, 2 of you are going. And she says, Chantel and Kelly, you're going. You're going backstage because you're safe. Alexis, you're leaving.
My heart, I was gutted. Because we were very excited. We were happy that Alexis stayed.
Yeah, because we love both of those other girls, but we just love Alexis so much.
Yeah, we just love Alexis so much more. And, well, you love Kelly. But, like, you know, in terms of the lip sync and overall, like, I don't know. It just, we were, like, very excited about Alexis. And then they're like, psych. Like, you're both staying. And Alexis, you're the actually one leaving. That was heart-wrenching.
It was really mean.
It was really mean.
It was mean. I'm surprised they did that.
It was very, very mean.
But Alexis is so classy. Just as when she's getting bad critiques or good critiques, she gives the same funny little mug. She twists her head a little bit. She makes a kooky smile. And she gives a very classy goodbye speech. Because she's all class.
I love her.
Absolutely incredible performer. So memorable. Made such an impact on the show. Absolutely unforgettable.
Absolutely.
And that kind of wraps up our discussion of this week's episode. Very exciting. Does this change your opinion on like who might the front runner be at this point?
I feel like the front runners, based on what I'm looking at, are Aries,
obviously.
Juana Guadalupe.
Yep.
Electra, Walpurgis, and I would say that the fourth one I'm still seeking out who it's gonna be.
Yeah, I was convinced it was gonna be Kelly, but now I'm not so sure.
I think it might be Catriona.
Catriona
might pull through if she's doing better, because I don't think they don't like Dimitra. They don't really, I don't think, care about Ariel as much as
even though they're not excited about Dimitra. I could see her making it to the end just by kind of being consistently good.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what happens, but I think those are my solid 3 top.
But before we wrap it up for this week, let's go ahead and look at some YouTube comments. We got a ton of comments this week. Very exciting. And some of them have some very useful information. Ooh, let's get some scoops. First off, we have a message from Alkeen regarding your conspiracy theories about who gets lyrics in their La Mas Draga songs and who does not. They say, they released the La Mas Draga album. Only La Kylie's, Purga, and Kelly's songs have lyrics right now. The other tracks don't have lyrics yet, but the names you can kind of guess who they are for. For example, there's a track called Meow, which is probably for Catriona.
That's so funny.
Who could that be for? So does this put a damper in your conspiracy theory? I think.
Well, this episode they did not play any songs with lyrics, so I don't know. They're putting a hold. Maybe I don't know what's happening.
More fuel for the fire. Whatever you think this means for who's going home when, go ahead and say it in the comment section. Speculate wildly. We love that. So a couple people wrote in about what Catriona's look was last week with like the bottles hanging from the tree. Mr. Gabriel Gles comments, the flower of Catriona is called Stabantun, excuse my pronunciation. It's a flower and it grows in the south of Mexico. With that flower, they create honey and liquor with the same name. And it was used in the Mayan times. And they have a story about a beautiful woman who enchanted men. But sadly, one day she dies. And from her thumb grows a flower. And the liquor it gives away is really sweet and charming, like her.
And why were they dying?
I don't know. Poison. Oh, actually, here, I can actually clarify. Because Nelson writes in that Sofia Jimenez from Season 2, one of my favorites from Season 2, actually, explained on Aviesk's review show, where apparently all the good information is, that the reference was a folk legend. And it's a female ghost who hides in the trunk of ceiba or kapok trees and comes out at night to seduce drunk men and take their lives. So I think that's the other end of the legend there.
Okay, so we're getting two for one. Great.
Wow, well, thank you so much.
Thank you for letting us know.
We're learning stuff, and that makes me appreciate that. Runway a little more. Hey, Catriona. Pretty good last week.
Pretty good, yes.
Didn't get it, but now I like it. And this was another very exciting and very surprising. We get one of these a couple times a season. A very surprising and very exciting comment from Johnny Carmona. And he says, Oli, oli, oli. No, he says, oh my God, thanks for your time and love. Big kiss from Mexico City, Johnny.
Aww, that's so cute.
That's
Thank
so
you,
sweet.
Johnny.
How flattering that anyone working on the show would watch our recaps. We love so much what you're doing with this production. It's very cool that anyone would watch what we're doing over here. So thank you so much for watching this week.
You.
Yeah, we appreciate you all so much. Even if you don't work on La Mas Draga, we still like you a lot. Keep leaving comments. We're having a lot of fun learning things from you, and we're having a lot of fun learning what you want to hear from us. So go ahead and leave comments, subscribe. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers.
We are.
And we love you so much. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.